Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most controversial and heartbreaking conflicts in modern history, the story of Israel and Palestine. This isn't just about politics. It's about people, land, and decades of suffering. By the end of this video, you'll understand how Israel was created, how Palestinians were displaced, and what's happening today. Part 1. The roots of the conflict, late 1800s, 1948. Zionism and the British Promise. The modern conflict didn't start in 1948. It began in the late 19th century with the rise of Zionism, a political movement advocating for a Jewish state in Palestine. At the time, Palestine was under Ottoman rule, and the population was mostly Arab Muslims and Christians, with a small Jewish minority. After World War I, the British took control of Palestine under the League of Nations mandate. In 1917, the British issued the Balfour Declaration, promising to support a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, despite the fact that over 90% of the population was Arab. This was the first major betrayal. The British had no right to promise land that wasn't theirs, and they ignored the rights of the native Palestinians. Jewish immigration and Palestinian resistance. Between the 1920s and 1940s, waves of Jewish immigrants arrived in Palestine, many fleeing persecution in Europe, especially after the Holocaust. But as Jewish settlements expanded, Palestinians were forced off their land. Tensions exploded in the 1936-1939 Arab Revolt, where Palestinians rebelled against British rule and Zionist expansion. The British crushed the revolt, killing thousands of Palestinians and weakening their leadership. Meanwhile, Zionist militias like the Haganah, Irgun, and Stern Gang armed themselves, preparing for a future Jewish state, by force if necessary. Part 2. The Nakba. The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine, 1948. UN Partition Plan, 1947. In 1947, the United Nations proposed dividing Palestine into two states, 55% for a Jewish state, despite Jews owning only 7% of the land, and 45% for an Arab state, with Jerusalem under international control. The Palestinians and Arab nations rejected the plan. Why should they give up more than half their land to a minority population? But the Zionists accepted it, knowing it was their chance to declare a state. The 1948 War. The Nakba. In May 1948, Israel declared independence. Immediately, Arab nations, Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, invaded to defend the Palestinians. But Israel, backed by Western weapons, won the war. What followed was al-Nakba, the catastrophe, the mass expulsion of Palestinians. Zionist forces destroyed over 500 villages, massacred civilians, like in Deir Yassin, and forced 750,000 Palestinians into exile. Israel captured 78% of historic Palestine, far more than the UN had offered. The remaining 22% was split between Egypt, Gaza, and Jordan, West Bank. This was ethnic cleansing. Palestinians were never allowed to return. To this day, Israel denies them the right of return, while any Jew in the world can claim Israeli citizenship. Part 3. Occupation and Resistance, 1967, present. The 1967 war, Israel takes everything. In 1967, Israel launched a surprise attack on Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. In 6 days, Israel captured the West Bank from Jordan, Gaza and the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, the Golan Heights from Syria. This was the start of Israel's military occupation. Since then, Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank have lived under Israeli control. Settlements and apartheid Israel began building illegal settlements in the West Bank, moving its civilians onto stolen Palestinian land, a war crime under international law. Today, over 700,000 settlers live in the West Bank, protected by the Israeli military, while Palestinians face checkpoints, house demolitions, arrests without trial, violence from settlers. This is apartheid. Even human rights groups like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch call it that. The First Intifada, 1987, Oslo Accords, 1990s. In 1987, Palestinians rose up in the First Intifada, a mass protest against occupation. Israel responded with brutal force, killing thousands. In the 1990s, the Oslo Accords were supposed to bring peace. The Palestinian Authority, PA, was created to govern parts of the West Bank, but in reality, Israel kept expanding settlements. The PA became a puppet government collaborating with Israel. Gaza was cut off and besieged. The Second Intifada, 2000, Hamas's rise. In 2000, peace talks failed, and another uprising began. Israel's response? More killings, more checkpoints, more walls. In 2006, Hamas won elections in Gaza. Israel and the West refused to accept the results and imposed a blockade, turning Gaza into an open-air prison. Part 4. The 1967 War and Occupation, 1967-1993. The Six-Day War, 1967. In June 1967, fearing an Arab attack, Israel launched a preemptive strike. In 6 days, they took the West Bank from Jordan, took Gaza Sinai from Egypt, took the Golan Heights from Syria, captured East Jerusalem. This was a turning point. Israel now controlled all of historic Palestine, plus extra land. Settlements begin. Israel started building Jewish settlements in the West Bank and Gaza, violating international law. Palestinians saw this as theft. Resistance grew, led by the PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization, founded in 1964. First Intifada, 1987-1993. In 1987, Palestinians launched the First Intifada, uprising, stones versus guns. Over 1,000 Palestinians and 160 Israelis died. The world saw Israel's harsh crackdowns and pressure for peace grew. Part 5. The Oslo Accords and Failed Peace, 1993-2000s. Oslo Accords, 1993. In 1993, Israel and the PLO signed the Oslo Accords. The deal: Palestinians would recognize Israel. Israel would allow a Palestinian Authority, PA, to govern parts of the West Bank, Gaza. Final status issues: Jerusalem, refugees, borders, would be negotiated later. Many hoped this would lead to peace. It didn't. Why Oslo failed. Continued settlements. Israel kept expanding settlements, making a future Palestinian state impossible. Hamas's rise. Some Palestinians rejected Oslo. In 1987, Hamas was founded, calling for Israel's destruction. Violence, suicide bombings by Hamas, harsh Israeli crackdowns. Second Intifada, 2000-2005. In 2000, peace talks collapsed. A new, bloodier Second Intifada began. Over 3,000 Palestinians, 1,000 Israelis died. Israel reoccupied West Bank cities, built a separation wall, and in 2005 withdrew from Gaza, only for Hamas to take over in 2007. Part 6. Gaza Blockade and Modern Conflicts, 2005-present. Gaza under siege. Since 2007, Israel has blockaded Gaza, controlling food, water, electricity, and movement. Hamas fires rockets. Israel bombs Gaza. Wars in 2008, 2012, 2014, 2021, and 2023 have killed thousands, mostly Palestinians. West Bank, settlements, and apartheid. Today, 700,000 Israeli settlers live in the West Bank, supported by the military. Palestinians face checkpoints, home demolitions, and violence from settlers. Many call it apartheid, a charge Israel denies. What both sides want now. Israel's goals: 1. Security. End Hamas, stop attacks. 2. Keep Jerusalem as its capital. 3. Annex parts of the West Bank. Many leaders oppose a full Palestinian state. 4. Prevent Palestinian right of return to maintain a Jewish majority. Palestinian goals: 1. End occupation, full independence in West Bank, Gaza, East Jerusalem. 2. Right of return for refugees or compensation. 3. Stop settlements. 4. Hamas wants Israel destroyed. Fatah, PA wants a two-state solution. October 7, 2023. A turning point? Hamas's brutal attack, killing 1,200 Israelis, and Israel's devastating response, killing over 35,000 plus Palestinians in Gaza as of mid-2024, have reset the conflict. The world is divided. Some back Israel's right to defend itself. Others call it genocide. Conclusion: is peace possible? This conflict isn't just about land. It's about trauma, identity, and survival. Both sides have legitimate claims and deep wounds. Possible solutions: 1. Two-state solution. Still the official goal, but with settlements, it's fading. 2. One-state solution. Equal rights for all. But would Israel accept losing its Jewish majority? 3. Continued war. The current path leads to more bloodshed. Final thought: history shows us, without justice for both peoples, peace won't come. The question is, will leaders on both sides ever choose compromise over conflict? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this deep dive helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.